Coming up on today's show, a review of Cardiff Met's basketball team's season so far, an interview with Cardiff Met Football Club's Kitman Daryl Jenkins with what his role entails. Cardiff Met welcomed a host of Ukrainian athletes who have made full use of the university's facilities, and a summary of the Battle of the Diff from the end of November. Hello and welcome to an Up the Archer special at Cardiff Met Kincoid campus. We'll be looking at exciting encounters from all over campus and previewing the final Cardiff clash of the year. But first, it's only 11 days until Christmas, and as you can tell, we're pretty excited here. But Christmas isn't the only thing to be excited about today, as tonight sees the final Rugby Cardiff clash of the year. Rugby captains Joe Cowell of Met and Luke Pollock of Cardiff caught up with our reporters James and Cian to chat about the ultimate end to the season.
So obviously off the bounce of two quite disappointing weeks, it's important that we bounce back for Clash, and it's going to be a massive occasion, especially after losing last time, so hopefully all the boys are switched on, ready to go, and looking forward to it.
We're not looking too much into results. We've had a shaky few past games, and I think they had an unexpected loss to Swansea as well, but that just happens in this league, and we seem to always turn up when we play each other, so we're not expecting like a weaker performance from either side, to be honest. We seem to play our best rugby when we're playing each other, so yeah.
Yes, well, good to hear both captains are raring to go, and then they can start celebrating Christmas. Here, we started festivities yesterday with a highly competitive Christmas jumper competition. Strike a pose. Strike a pose. Yes, well, it looks like everyone is ready to leap into the holidays, and I'm still waiting for my winning box of chocolates. So, but others who are ready to leap and bounce are the Met women's basketball team. They had a tough encounter against the London Lions over the weekend. It was live on Cardiff Met Sport TV, and if you missed it, here are the highlights.
Hello and welcome back to the Archers Arena for what is possibly the game of the season. The London Lionesses come to Cardiff today with a 100% record in the WBBL, and the Archers are in need of a win if they're to push for a top spot in the standings. Lauren Psyche looking to turn the corner, pulls up, and that is absolute butter. So smooth from Lauren Psyche. And Shannon Hatch, who's open from the corner. Cash! Shannon Hatch. Lara Habling looking to roll. Being used as a playmaker here. Shannon Hatch round the corner. Pulls up from mid-range, and that goes down again. Archers down by just 3 points here. Finding Beckford. And that's a very good double clutch layup there. Lions are leading 43-28. The Archers have an awful lot of work to do if they are to recover this game. Izzy Bunyan was open, but Psyche goes alone. Lauren Psyche, so silky, so smooth. Lauren Psyche. Winter forward, she's found too much space. The physicality of the London Lions becoming very, very clear here. 5 minutes left to conjure up some magic. Shannon Hatch open from 3. Cash! Lauren Psyche, Shannon Hatch. The Dips dynamic duo connecting once again. Psyche looking for opportunities. Hatch from the corner. Down! Down the Hatch! Shannon Hatch. Marchesotti with a fantastic long arm rebound. Abigail Younker. That's her first points of the game, and what a huge 2 points it is. Winterford finds Leonard. And the 3 for the Lions might be too much to overcome now. A gallant performance from the Archers, but the London Lions take the spoils. The Lionesses have hunted their way to the top of the WBBL once again.
An intense game for the Archers. They'll be looking to get a win on the cards in their first matchup in the new year. Well, they'll face Durham on the 7th of January with their first home game against Sheffield on the 14th. Yep. I'm now joined by our top-notch basketball correspondent, Dab Jones.
Hi.
To talk a bit more about the wide scope of basketball teams here at Cardiff Met. Thank you for joining me.
No problem at all.
So, Dab, how do you think the women will be feeling after that loss? It's their 4th loss in a row. How can they bounce back?
I mean, it's not the way they would have wanted to end out the year, although I caught up with Coach Steph Collins last week and she told me that they had this penciled in. They had a tough winter stretch. They had the London Lions and then a couple of other teams who were really at the top of the conference. So they were expecting to come out with a couple of losses. They would have hoped for 1 or 2 at least in the win column, but they knew that this was a chance to compete with the top of the league. And so I think they're happy overall, but they've got a good couple of games early January where they're looking to bounce back.
Over the Christmas period, what do you think the women need to focus on?
I think three-point shooting has been their biggest problem. They've been able to get really drilled in terms of their offensive play. They've let their stars shine, but they've also developed young talent, like Izzy Bunyan's a perfect example for that. She actually credited Coach Collins with her 4-year scholarship that she's just got with Montana State. It's very rare to get that kind of thing for a British player, and so that's an enormous achievement for her. So I think if they can work on three-point shooting and involving Izzy a little bit more, they'll come out with some more wins.
And in the new year, what would you say are the key fixtures for the women?
Oof, well, I think when Durham come in again, that could be a big galvanising win if they can get a performance like they did last time out. And when they play Sevenoaks, they'll be looking to get a victory that hit double overtime last time. So that's something I'm sure they've got circled in the calendar.
So you've mentioned a few sort of key players in the women's team. In the wheelchair team, would you say they've got many standout players? Yeah,
well, so the men's team and the women's team have people like Shannon Hatch and Dan Flaherty where we can kind of circle and pinpoint them as the stars. But the wheelchair team is really interesting to see. There's no standout player, but every game you've got 3, 4, even 5 players who've got 10 points plus. They share the ball. It's really great. I don't want to get too bogged down in the results for the wheelchair team. It's a fantastic achievement within itself. It's their inaugural season. They're a fresh team, and it's another example of how the Met are at the forefront of inclusivity within collegiate basketball.
So you said this is an inaugural season. How do you think sort of the next few seasons for them will pan out?
Well, I think development has been such a massive thing for the Met, whether it's women's or men's team play. So it's just going to get better and better. They've got fantastic coaches, whether that's James Dawes or Sarah Habling is helping out a lot. So I think it's just growth. The more coverage it gets, the more people who find out about it and go to the camps that they have to help training and help bring people in. They're going to get better players. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to come back in a couple of years' time and see where they are.
And what about the men? How are they getting on?
They're doing very well. They're aiming very high. They've got top talent, top prospects. Dan Flaherty's just been unbelievable all season. He's kept it going. He got 36 points at the weekend, but the main thing for me is across all 3 competitions they play in, he got 80 points, so it's consistency that they're getting from him. I would like to see in the new year maybe less reliance on Dan Flaherty. Mark Morale and him have been working together in training sessions since the start of the season, so I'd like to see Mark go forward a bit more. He's doing very well in assists, but I'd like to see a bit more scoring from the other sides of the team rather than just Dan every game.
And finally, if the women's basketball team at Cardiff Met were a chocolate, which one would they be?
They've got to be an Eclair. They're top quality. They're in the top league. Everybody knows about them. And yeah, it's the Eclair.
Okay, thank you, Dav.
No
Lots to look forward to in the new year for the Archers. Now, over the way and round the corner, the Archers, round the corner from the Archers Arena, is the infamous Rugby 1, where our rugby correspondent Kian Tukey is currently pitchside. Looking very festive, Kian.
Thank you very much, Meg. Feeling festive, looking festive. We're here on Rugby 1 as the team are going through their final preparations ahead of the biggest game of the year. I'm here with Mr. Jake Bond, playing 006 rather than 007 this week. How are you feeling ahead of this clash?
Yeah, obviously really excited. Coming off of a loss against Swansea, we've really been training hard, really going through the motions and playing what we need to do. Obviously, that last Cardiff clash, it wasn't the result we wanted, so we definitely want to come back stronger this time.
What's been the main message amongst the squad this week?
I think it's definitely just physicality, physicality and intensity, and just bringing what we can play. We had that five streak of winning. We need to bring what we do back to what this game is.
I mean, Danny Milton has shown he's not afraid to change the team. 6 changes this week, 7 changes the week before. Does the rotation increase the ability of the squad?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got so many good players, and everyone's fighting for positions. So it makes it more competitive around the squad, and everyone just really wants to get. Obviously, it's a clash as well, so everyone wants to get in. But yeah, it's good to have a number of good players we can just in and out.
And 1 win in 5 for Cardiff. Is that something you think about before the game?
I mean, obviously, there's something to factor in, but you can never underestimate them. Let's just say the last clash, and then they've had other big wins. But yeah, we definitely just want to go out there and show them what we can do. Show them what we can do today.
I mean, you spoke about the last clash quite a few times now. How much is that a motivator?
Oh, definitely. I mean, in our eyes, it's one of the biggest games of the year. Out in the Arms Park, and with so many people watching, you just want to make them proud.
And with the amount of people watching, the fans, how big will they play in that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when you're down there, when you're on the pitch, it's just so loud. You can barely even hear yourself think. And obviously the ultras as well, they're a massive help. They are the 16th man, and with their support, that's what kind of gets us over the games when we have them at King Court.
What do you think the final thing will be said to the players?
Just go out there and just kind of do what we can do, kind of finish off the year with a high, and then we can have a good platform to go into next year. So just do the things that we do best: physicality, aggression, make sure we're fronting up to them.
Perfect stuff. Now finally, we are asking all teams around campus, what's coming, we're all asking all teams around campus what celebration chocolate are they most like. So I need to ask you, what is the rugby team most like?
I don't even know what the celebrations are. Snickers, I think, maybe. They're all pretty nuts.
Lovely stuff. Great answer. Thank you very much, Mr.
You.
Bonds.
Cheers.
And we'll see you later and good luck.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Kian. Stay warm out there. So we'll move on to football now. And we've all seen in the Football World Cup how key penalties can be, especially for England. We caught up with Mets football superstar Elliot Evans.
Elliot Evans. Tri chynnig I Gymro medden ho ar ôl colli mewn 2 rownd derfynol. Met Cardiff sy'n mynd I Ewrop.
I was the 5th taker, so I had a lot of time to process what was happening. And to be honest, the penalties, the standard of them wasn't great in the game. A couple of our boys missed early on in the shootout, and then I think they missed maybe 3 on, if memory serves me correctly, 3 on the bounce. So I was sort of thinking, I can't do any worse than a lot of these penalties.
Chris Venables yn aros. A mi weithio ddi. Ac unwaith eto. Dim ond un gair sydd ddisgrifio'r gic yna. Difrifol.
2 of our players have scored. I think Emlyn scored just before me, and then our goalkeeper saved it, and then I realised it was that was the opportunity to win the game and obviously qualify for Europe, and it's something that we tried for the last 2 seasons before that. So I think we got to 2 finals before that one. So there'd been a little bit of probably a good example of pressure in those games, particularly in the final before that one, where again maybe viewed the pressure as a little bit of a negative thing and it affected performance. But I think on the flip side, within this situation, it was more a chance where I thought, right, this is the chance to win the game. We obviously lost the previous 2 finals, and probably pressure had built a little bit and affected performance, and I thought to myself, I'm not going to allow that to happen this time. So with regards to the pressure within that situation, I think I was probably helped by the standard of the penalties before, and I was thinking, just relax, this is the opportunity to win the game rather than sort of save the game. And you know, if you're thinking about like the consequences of missing the penalty and the situation around it being a penalty shootout, you're probably more likely to miss it. Thinking just about your job on, you know, in that situation, because I can't control like what our keeper does. I can't control what the players before me were doing with their penalties. All I can control is that penalty that I'm taking, and I think that was the biggest thing I was thinking at the time. And luckily, obviously, it was the last penalty as it came to me, so it was kind of, again, that chance to win the game. And I knew as soon as I was walking up to the penalty spot, it was that focus on that job that I had to do. If I did that well, it would result in, obviously, what we wanted to happen was to obviously win the game and qualify for Europe.
Elliot Evans. Tri chynnig I Gymro medden ho. Ar ôl colli mewn 2 rownd derfynol. Met Cardiff sy'n mynd I Ewrop.
Interesting to hear from Elliot Evans there, and I'm now joined by our football correspondent, Ryan Bellini. Thank you for joining us, Ryan. Now, starting with the men's team, how are they looking heading into Christmas?
Relatively okay. They started the season really, really well and sort of dipped in and out at times, but generally okay. They're 5th in the league now. A draw on the weekend, that game, we wasn't sure if it was going to go ahead at one point, but it did. Met took the lead early on, conceded late on in the game. They'll be happy to get a point overall. But heading into the Christmas period, it's going to be tricky. There's a lot of fixtures coming thick and fast, but the fixtures look to be going Met's way. They'll be hoping to get a victory against Harvard West on Friday, and then next week against Newtown. So yeah, looking good, and we'll be seeing how they go in phase 2.
Are there any players that Met should be aware of heading into those 2 games you spoke about there, Harvard West and Newtown?
With Harvard West, Jazz Richards, who's a Welsh international, he's played for Swansea and Cardiff. Maybe not so much to look out for, but he's got a really, really strong reputation. And with Newtown, striker Williams, who's got 14 goal contributions so far this year, so definitely watch out for him as well, yeah.
The Christmas period is always a tricky time in football. Games sort of come quick and fast. How hard will that be for the players?
Difficult over the next 2 weeks. We see Met play 4 games, so it's going to be difficult. It's not something that they're used to. So I think rotation is going to be really key for Ryan Jenkins in this time period. We're going to see the likes of Kean Williams and other rotation players come in the squad. So it'll be difficult, but the fixtures are going their way. Coming back in January, they've got 2 fixtures against Airbus, who haven't won a game yet. So rotation will be key over the next few weeks going into them games.
Now, onto the women's team. Where do they currently sit in their league?
So currently 3rd. The women's team have actually done quite well so far this season. They've crumbled when they've played Swansea and Cardiff. They've got just 1 point out of 12. So, you know, as you see at the top of the table there, Cardiff, they've been like a trailblazer so far in the division. But they've just been a step behind those 2 teams. Other than that, they've done really, really well.
Do you think it's something about the sort of South Wales rivalry that maybe plays on their mind a little bit between Swansea and Cardiff?
Yeah, potentially. But they're also, you know, full of quality players, and, you know, Met have done really, really well themselves. But yeah, it could be something to do with the rivalry.
And what are their fixtures looking like in the new year? What do you think they sort of have to do over the Christmas time to keep themselves up in that top part of the table? Yeah,
I think it'd be really important just to rest, reflect, and then the next game is on January 22nd, so it's quite a bit away, unlike Met, who are the men's team that will be playing right through. So yeah, just rest and reflect, and then go into those games fresh.
And onto the action in Qatar. Argentina clinched their place last night against Croatia. What is your prediction for the second semi-final between France and Morocco tonight?
It's interesting. Morocco have only conceded 1 goal, and it was an own goal. So, you know, they're a great defensive team. Against France, I'm not so sure. I think it will be a really, really close game. I think it'll be low scoring, but I think France will probably win 1, maybe 2-0.
And what is your World Cup prediction winner? Who's
Argentina. I said it right from the start. I think it's Messi's tournament. Yeah, I think Argentina.
Excellent. And finally, if the men's Cardiff Met football team could be a chocolate, which chocolate would they be?
Tough. Mars.
Mars,
yeah.
Wow. Straight in there. Now, one person who knows the insides and out of Cardiff Met football is their Kitman. We caught up with him to find out a little bit more about his role.
I've been with the club now 8 seasons, 7 seasons in the Welsh Prem. I joined the club in season 15-16. Our first season, where we won Division 1 and got promoted to the Welsh Prem. So yeah, 8 seasons and it's been an absolute dream. How did I get involved? Well, being a Swansea City fan myself, Swanee was the manager Cardiff Met. I got to hear about that in Caerphilly and I thought I'd come down and have a little look. How he managed, how he coached. Obviously one of my terrace heroes. So I came down, I got to speak to him and it went from there really. We sort of swapped numbers in the bar after the game and he invited me to have a role at the club, which I greatly accepted, and it's been an absolute roller coaster since then. So it's been an absolute dream for me, it really has. Best moment, wow, I can't really pinpoint it to one. It has to be 3 if that's okay. One is obviously the Nathaniel Cup final beating Cambrian. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant atmosphere, and my first piece of silverware ever. I've never won anything as a player myself, my first ever piece of silverware, which is good. The playoff final at Bala was unbelievable. Nothing can really beat that. Els' penalty in the penalty shootout was the emotion. I've never ever felt nothing like it. So that was superb. And the European experience over in Luxembourg was unbelievable. Training in the heat, the flight over, the heat was amazing. The whole atmosphere, but just to announce myself in the Europa League was unbelievable. Can't really fault it, it's been brilliant. Our worst moment can only be one for me. That feeling in the stomach when we lost to Kevin Druids in that playoff final. We lost the previous final at Bangor, which we sort of accepted after. But the final at Kevin Druids, I think I spoke to Macca on the bus on the way up and we all felt that this was our year. The feeling was different. We all thought, I'm not saying we had to turn up to win, but we all felt that was our year. And to get beat 1-0, the feeling on the pitch is one I'll never forget. I don't want to have that again, really. Easy one for me, that. This is a massive family club. The dressing room, the team spirit, the bus trips. There isn't a more special team bus than this club. Everyone has been brilliant with me. They say the atmosphere is outstanding on the bus. Win, lose or draw, we're all one massive family. And everyone, the togetherness from the staff, from Swanee, Jenks, Hams, even Steph, the physio, to the players, to myself. We're just one big happy family. And I couldn't wish for a better club, honestly.
Good to catch up with key members of the club who aren't always in the spotlight. And speaking of catch-ups, this morning we heard from some of our fellow students to see if they know enough about football festivities to keep them all off the naughty list.
We went round Kincoid campus today to find out how Christmassy everyone is feeling and test their knowledge of the World Cup. Let's go! Question 1.
Yeah.
Who scored more goals at World Cups, Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
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 Oh, Messi.
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 Yeah, Messi.
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 Messi. Messi. Messi.
Messi.
Ronaldo.
And he's fallen at the first hurdle. He is not getting a Christmas hat. How many goals have the Welsh men's team scored at World Cups ever? Is it 1, 2, 3 or 4? Think about it.
4.
She's right.
4.
It is 4.
4. 4.
4.
Is it 4? I reckon 4. Yeah, I remember 4. 2.
He's right! Who's the top Portuguese goal scorer at World Cups?
Eusebio.
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 Eusebio. How am I knowing that? Eusebio, I don't know. I'm going to say Eusebio.
Oh, he smashed it out of the park. You can have a Christmas hat. Please put it on. Oh, look at it. It is Eusebio. You get a Christmas hat, Ed.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
Ecstatic.
Ecstatic. Ed feels ecstatic.
Best time.
Christmas hats are the one. Good job. Enjoy your Christmas hat. He's going to put the Christmas hat on. Oh, I smashed it. Smashed it, absolutely. So, tested their knowledge, and some came out with a Christmas hat, lucky for them, looking as good as me. Others, not so much. Back to the studio.
Naughty list it is then. So it's good to see that Cardiff Met is somewhere that is known for its community spirit, especially in sport. And recently, Cardiff Met University has become a sanctuary as it welcomes several Ukrainian athletes, and it has truly shown how sport can bring people together.
Cardiff Metropolitan University has opened its doors and welcomed the rhythmic gymnastics team from its twin university in Ukraine. The team are in Cardiff for 6 weeks, and they've been training with the university team during their stay.
It's been really fun training with them. We've been doing warm-ups together, they've been leading warm-ups. It's been a bit of a change to how we usually warm up. They've been also teaching us how to do rhythmic gymnastics and cheer, for example. We've also been teaching them how to do some of our artistic gymnastics as well. Yeah, I think they've had really fun.
Ми дуже задоволені від тренування з кардифською командою. Ми отримали позитивні емоції, чудові емоції від професійності, від уважності, від доброзичливості.
The university team have welcomed the Ukrainian team into their sessions with open arms and have really embraced having them in the gym with them.
From the moment they arrived, everyone has been really welcoming and accommodating, and I've met them a couple of times and they're really enjoying their time here. I think they've felt very welcomed. And this undoubtedly is the beginning of a really long-term relationship. And hopefully when the war is over, some of our teams will go and visit our new friends in Ukraine.
The Ukrainian team will return to Ukraine on the 20th of December. It's been an absolute pleasure having them here at Cardiff Met, and we wish them all the best for the future.
Sport speaks to young people in a way that nothing else does.
It's not just gymnasts we've welcomed to Cardiff Met, as this winter we've also seen the return of the sprint team. Kian Tuki caught up with the Ukrainian athletes.
After a successful summer training camp, the Ukrainian athletes are back here at the National Indoor Athletic Centre, this time with an idea to set up a framework to make sure the athletes can train safely and securely.
The group is the same from in August, with a few extra additions just to expand the relay squad and also to develop the women's relay squad as well. With the camp that's planned in May, both squads will be here to continue their preparations for the summer.
One athlete who is all too aware of the importance the camps hold is sprint national team captain Stanislav Konolenko.
I don't have any possibility to train at home right now, so after Cardiff I don't know where I will train. It's the last chance that I can say, so it's my last chance, the team's last chance to improve ourselves, to show our best, and to help to protect our country's reputation, like in the world arena. So be Ukrainian, it's a big responsibility right now.
With an agreement now in place between Cardiff Met and the Ukrainian Athletics Federation, sessions can now be structured with a future goal in mind.
The goal is to support both squads so they can prepare and have the best chance to get to the Paris Olympics.
It's my dream to be able to represent my country at the Olympic Games. Now with those facilities that we have here, with those tremendous experience that coaches from Wales, especially Garrett, have, and all the technical aspects, I think that it's a better place to training.
With an established link now set up between Ukrainian athletics and Cardiff Met University, it now gives these athletes a real chance to make it to the 2024 Paris Olympics. Although, by the looks of it, maybe USA 2026 is more realistic. This is Kian Tuki reporting for Cardiff Met Sports TV.
Again, it's wonderful to see Cardiff Met promoting the power of sport. Now, an up-and-coming sport here at Cardiff Met is boxing, and let's take a look at one type boxing matchup. It's Battle of the Diff.
even better than beating your rival university, and that's 2 years on the bounce as well for anybody who hasn't seen the first one, so we love it. Up the Archers.
And I'm now joined by our boxing correspondent Mo. Mo, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
That looked amazing. What exactly was Battle of the Diff? Can you tell us a little bit more?
It was basically Cardiff Met versus Cardiff University. So it was both universities had boxing teams and they were fighting against each other. But there was a lot of other boxing clubs as well that were fighting as well, that was involved. But altogether we did win, 3-1. Cardiff Met won. We also had 5 other boxers from Cardiff Met fighting other boxing clubs within the country, and they all won their fight. So it was a really successful night, and there was a lot of fans there as well.
And how are the boxing club doing at Cardiff Met? Could you just give us a summary?
The boxing club are doing really well at the moment. They train 3 times a week, extra on a Sunday as well, the advanced class. So there is a lot of people that come. They train 3 days a week in the evening down at the dance club. So they're doing really well.
Is there anyone to sort of look out for specifically during these boxing matchups?
Yeah, there's 2 guys that really impressed me on the night. One of them has got Ben Shaw, his name is. He's doing really well at the moment. He won on the night as well. He's got a few good fights. He's won a few good fights and he's extremely talented. And there's another kid called Benedict Diaz, and he's a recording artist as well. So he's a very essential character to look forward to.
You mentioned a little bit about the training there. Is it open for anyone to try, or?
Basically, they train 3 days a week, so you've got to become a member to train, and then you can be accepted and you can train anytime with them. There's more advanced classes for the boxers that are looking to go into the amateur circuit. But for anybody that wants to join, just sign up to the membership and they can come 3 times a week.
Lovely. And do you think boxing at Cardiff Met will sort of aid people with their hopeful future careers in the sport?
Yeah, they would, because they can go down the amateur route, they can, or majority of them do it for fitness, but there are 1 or 2 that are looking to go down the amateur route and go towards Commonwealth and that, basically.
Sounds like definitely an up-and-coming sport. What do you think of it sort of globally? Obviously, we saw the Fury-Chisora fight happen a few weeks ago. Do you think it's sort of making a name for itself more in the UK, or what do you think?
Boxing is actually booming in the country at the moment, because you can see all the big fights are sold out. Even if you go to little community events, the amateur clubs are all doing well at the moment. The rise of women boxing from the last big fight in the O2, Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall sold out. So women boxing is going up and up, up. Amateur circuit is going up, and a lot of the small boxing clubs are doing well, and membership is increasing because it does a lot for mental health as well, for fitness, and it does a lot of things for people that are suffering from domestic abuse as well. Because there was a lady that used to come to this university called Gemma Price. She set up Lamb Rumley Boxing Club for women that suffer from domestic violence, and now the club is growing, basically. So boxing does a lot for people's mental well-being.
Perfect, thank you for all that. Sounds very, very interesting. And finally, if the boxing team at Cardiff Met could be a chocolate, which one would they be?
They'd definitely be a lion bar, because they're tough as cook. They're really tough, they are.
Thank you, Mo. Now, from one clash to the next, we're keeping our sights firmly set on this evening's face-off, and as it is more crucial than ever for Met to secure a win, especially after their shocking loss to Swansea Uni last week. Let's take a look back.
Barney Langton leads out his Archers onto this hallowed turf, and it looks like they're trying to set up a 16-man maul almost. They are driving towards the Cardiff Met line. There's only 2 players that aren't involved in this maul effort from Swansea as they move ever closer to the Met line, and they will score for the first try of the game. It's going to be fiercely contested. Morgan hasn't found it. It's found the hands of Swansea. Have they managed to get it out wide into the corner? What's the decision? It's a try. Brilliant awareness from Rory Cates. He kept the ball alive in his hands. Morgan wasn't able to deal with it, and he offloaded it beautifully to Dodd, who was going down the right. And Swansea have their second try in this fixture, Ed. Tough land, but the ball not exactly going to plan there for the scrum half, because Cardiff Met have got possession back. Lovely out the back pass. Broderick Evans is in some space. Patterson is on the inside, and he slid in on his debut for the Another try for Cardiff Met, the first try in this fixture. Bertie Taylor's in a bit of space, and Ben Murphy is the first one there to help him secure that quick ball for Met. Roderick Evans again. He's almost there, he's over! Bradley Roderick Evans, almost as quickly as he managed to set up one try, has scored one of his own. Every Swansea body seems to be in there, bar 2 players, and they've scored again as a result. It's obviously a play they've been planning, because Daft Land has bundled over from the back. Swansea actually getting the drive one of their own, and they've got away with it. Land has the ball in his hands. Is that another try for the scrum half? It is! It's something we don't say very often in Buck Super Rugby, but the Cardiff Met scrum came under pressure there. Probably not keen on letting Daft Land have another driving maul score, but that's exactly what Swansea are trying to achieve here in the corner. They do go forward with it, and they have scored again from the driving maul. They may get an opportunity to clear their lines. They've done so well here in defence, Methead.
That was a brilliant take from Jake Thomas under the pressure there.
So there's been a fumble. A moment of madness on the Cardiff Met try line. And Kai Davis has pounced on some loose ball. And Swansea have scored an unusual try. And looking for Romy Zheng, who chips the ball forwards, but it's collected by Stewart. It's hoofed into touch. The referee will blow the full-time whistle, and the Swansea players will hurtle onto the pitch in jubilation because they've just won this fixture by 17 points to 36. The away side have come down to Fortress King Coyd and gone away with 5 points in this Buck Super Rugby fixture.
After last week, the tension is high and the motivation is bigger than ever. King Coyd campus is buzzing with a mixture of nerves and excitement, and I can only imagine what the atmosphere is like at Cardiff Arms Park. But first, we've got James with the news roundup.
Hello and welcome to Sports Update from Cardiff Met Sport TV. Today's top stories: George North is out just as he returns, Cardiff City ladies find out their opponents in the FA Cup, Frederick for Ferrari, and a Ball State basketball brilliance. But first, Cardiff Met's men's rugby team will make the short journey on the number 52 bus down to Cardiff Arms Park for the second Cardiff Clash of the year. Danny Milton's men are coming off the back of 2 defeats on the bounce, which ended a 5-match win streak. The most recent of these coming from Swansea University at King Coyd. Ahead of the clash, Joe Cowell had this to say about the fixture.
Yeah, so obviously off the bounce of 2 quite disappointing weeks, it's important that we bounce back for Clash, and yeah, it's going to be a massive occasion, especially after losing last time, so hopefully all the boys are switched on, ready to go, and yeah, looking forward to it.
And you can catch the action on Bucks' YouTube channel, but there is an Up the Archer special tomorrow at 2 PM, previewing this Goliath encounter and other Met Sports seasons so far. The Archers women's basketball team fell to their 4th defeat in a row at the weekend. They hosted London Lions at Archers Arena. The Lions are undefeated this season and showed their class against the Archers, but Met will be determined to come back stronger after the festive break. There was something to smile about at the arena. A charity teddy bear toss took place during the match, and the club collected over 100 teddy bears to be donated to Ace Cardiff, supporting young children in the Butetown and Grangetown areas. George North made his first return for Ospreys on Sunday last night against Leicester Tigers since playing his part in Wales's Autumn Nation Series campaign. But the Welsh international suffered a broken cheekbone in the fixture and will be out for a number of weeks, missing crucial fixtures against Montpellier and Scarlets. Cardiff City ladies, who compete in the FA National League Division 1 South West, are top and undefeated in their league, but will now face either Burnley, who are in the league above, or Norwich, the South East Division 1 side, in the 4th round of the Women's FA Cup. They'll be keen to continue their unbeaten season run. Frederick Vasseur has been named as the new team principal of the Scuderia Ferrari Formula 1 team, succeeding Matteo Bonotto, who stepped down as team principal in November. The Sauber team principal will leave the Swiss outfit in January, and McLaren's Andreas Seidel will lead the team through its transition into Audi Formula 1 racing. It leaves a big hole at McLaren, and motorsport engineer George Roberts had this to say about the changes and the Woking team.
So for the news in the Formula 1 paddock today, I think it's a great day for Ferrari and Sauber, having got some people in with Formula 1 knowledge, experience, and are going to take the team forward. But it's an awful day for McLaren with now a team principal with no previous experience.
Lastly, it's a basketball bonanza by Ball State University. as the women's basketball team clinched victory in overtime against Pittsburgh University. It sees the team fly to 8-2 for the season, with Alex Richard contributing a career-high 18 points in the matchup. The Cardinals will host Tarleton State University in their next match and will look to extend their 6-game winning streak. That's all we've got time for today, but we'll return with another Cardiff Met Sport TV roundup soon. Diolch yn fawr, o hwyl a Nadolig llawen.
Thank you, James. Now here he is, pitchside with Buck Sports commentator Dave Rogers. What's it like down there
Name the
today,
band?
guys?
Can't name the band. Human League. Only know it from Secret Life of Ultimacy. Hello there and welcome to Cardiff Arms Park, which will be the theatre which will host Buck Super Rugby when Cardiff University and Cardiff Metropolitan here will face off later. And I'm joined by none other than Mr. Buck Super Rugby himself, Dave Rogers. I know you're smiling, but you love that sort of introduction. But this Buck Super Rugby season has seen more changes in positions in the last 4 months than a British cabinet. Talk me through some of the big talking points in the season.
Oh well, Cardiff University for a starter. They're playing this evening. Their best start to a Buck Super Rugby season. They've been top of the league. Of course, Cardiff Met have been top of the league. Loughborough are resurgent, currently sat top of the league, although we've had a little check and they're currently losing to Exeter, who have been really inconsistent. Durham are struggling. It's probably the most open season we've had this far, and I absolutely love it.
Well, I mean, talking of big things to notice in the league so far this season, reigning league champions in normal season, Durham University, they find themselves much lower down the table than they probably would like right now. Is this something for them to be concerned about, and what do you make of this?
It's really difficult because they were incredible last season, but the reason they were incredible is because they had a consistent team. Their tight five pretty much started all 18 regular season games then into the playoff. They've lost all of them. They had a great start to the year. They beat Loughborough at Hollow Drift, terrible conditions, but I thought, you know what, maybe they'll just pick up where they left off. But since then, you lose a few games, you pick up a few injuries, all of a sudden you're looking up at teams ahead of you, and it's hard work. I mean, after Christmas, that slog when the weather's not very good and you're starting to jostle for those top 4 positions and the home quarterfinals, I think we'll find out a little bit more. But it is just evidence that these dynasties don't last forever, and you've got to take advantage of them while you can.
Absolutely. I mean, nothing lasts forever in this league. And actually, speaking of that, and keeping with the theme of a purple team in the north, Leeds Beckett, not having the greatest of seasons in Buck Super Rugby, they find themselves rock bottom at the moment, just before Christmas. But they've done it before. They can have another resurgence, because last time they found themselves in the Buck Super Rugby final.
I'm never writing Leeds Beckett off, and they had some dreadful results. And there was chat. I'm not scared to admit we were thinking, crikey, are they going to be worse than Northumbria were last year? Again, they've had a lot of changes. The financials have changed. They got beaten out of sight by a lot of teams at the start of the year, and when you concede in 40, 50, sometimes 60 points, and coaches are saying it could have been 70 or 80, but we switched off, you have to ask questions. But then, talked about that great start Cardiff had, all of a sudden Leeds Beckett draw with Cardiff, and we start to think, oh, maybe. And then I speak to Dan Murphy at Hartpury, and he's like, Leeds Beckett are going to beat some teams this year. Then lo and behold, last week, they go and get the first win of the season. Again, they're not going to win every week, but they will certainly think about getting off the bottom of the table and maybe pushing into that 8th spot and picking up a quarter-final where they have caused absolute chaos in the past. So never ever write off Kerry Wood and Colin Stevens.
No, absolutely not. And going from one end to the other, you know, a purple team struggling, but an African violet that's flying at the moment, something that you personally will be quite pleased with, I'm sure, with your previous university experience.
Yeah, it's good to see Loughborough back, and I think that's for everyone, because in the Buck Super Rugby era, they've never really featured. They've never been to a final. They got to a semi-final last year where they really pushed Durham close. Scott Snedden's done a great job there. Of course, he's gone to Scarlets now. He's going to be joining us on co-commentary tonight, actually, so look forward to catching up with him. But again, they've already lost some games this season. They're at Topsham, getting a fairly comprehensive pumping at the moment. They had to work really hard to come back and get that draw at Hartpury, so they're certainly not having it their own way. It's tight at the top.
It's very tight at the top. Now, speaking of fixtures that are going to be tight, we are here at Cardiff Arms Park. Cardiff Met and Cardiff University have had a roller coaster of a season. Talk me through the entertainment they provide in the Buck Super Rugby League with a fixture like this evening.
As soon as you said it, there was a huge smile on my face. I'm sure you saw that. I love that this is a proper rivalry now, because when Cardiff first got promoted to this division, we thought, oh, you know, how long are they going to last? We didn't know a huge amount about them. We know that they have the big varsity game against Swansea that I think is going to be in the big room behind us later on in the year. But they've got themselves to a position where they're super competitive. impressive. As you said, they won their first 3 games of the season. They got their first ever victory in a Cardiff clash. They went to Sandy Park and they beat Exeter as well. And something that they found the ability to do is stay in the fight. The number of games that they've had that have been decided by 1, 2, 3 points either way, then you amplify that by the fact that it's Cardiff University against Cardiff Met, 2 points separating them over the last 4 games. They're looking for an unprecedented double, which I know you guys at Cardiff Met TV won't be happy about, but this is an unbelievable fixture and I'm buzzing.
Well, I'm buzzing as well, and it certainly would be a shake-up if they did do the double. Now, Dave, before we go, I am going to have you address the elephant in the room, or the elephant in the middle of the park, as it were. I need your score prediction for later.
No chance.
What's going to happen between these two sides?
After we move on and it's you and I, you can help me pick the splinters out of my backside. Couple of rivalries I'm really looking forward to. The 2 loose heads, Joe Cowell and Theo Bavec, who I think are brilliant players, and the 2 outside halves as well, Brad Rodd and of course Ed Dunford. I think both teams have got outside halves that can put them in the right position. It's just a case of which forward pack can keep them there, and that's who will win the game, and that is all you're getting from me on that prediction.
I couldn't have put it any better myself, and that's coming from Mr. Buck Super Rugby yourself. Dave, thank you so much for joining me here at Cardiff Arms Park, and we're going to head straight back to Meg, who's in a much warmer and less windy studio than me.
Thank you both. Now, Kian has joined me up in the studio. Is it a bit warmer in here,
Oh,
Kian?
I'll tell you what, Meg, I'm a lot more thankful to be in here. I can actually speak properly now and get my words out.
Now, let's talk about tonight. How have Cardiff Uni been getting on?
Well, Cardiff Uni, I think at the start of the season they took the league by storm. They were always towards the bottom half. Last season were able to sneak into the playoff places, but this season they started with a bang. They were top of the table for a long old while. They obviously shocked in that Cardiff clash and they beat Cardiff Met, something they have never been able to do in Super Bucks Rugby. Since then, it's kind of been a downhill spiral, kind of. They've got 1 win in their last 5. They've got a lot of injury issues, which I think has hampered their progression, and I think that shock start has kind of plateaued now. And don't get me wrong, I think they're a better team than they were last season, but tonight will be a real test to see how far they've come since last year.
And what do you think, with all that in mind, what do you expect from them tonight?
Well, I'm thinking 3G or 4G, should I say. Dry conditions. It'll be a cold night. I'm expecting a lot of running rugby. Their strength is in their backs. They've got a lot of experience in the backs. When you have someone like Dyer Jones, who's been there for 4 years now, playing with other backs who have been also there for 4 years, you know how everyone works, and I think that's where they'll be looking to exploit. Unfortunately, fortunately, Met have some very strong backs as well. I think the forwards will be really interesting. They've got a lot of injuries there. They've got George Shaw gone after he was selected for Ireland under-20s. But I think now's a real opportunity for Cardiff to leapfrog Met, since they're only 1 point behind them in the table.
Any matchups or head-to-heads that we should sort of look for tonight?
Well, I think one that everyone should be looking for is the battle of the tens. Brad Roderick-Evans and Ed Dunford. I mean, they're just 2 phenomenal players, and they've been doing it for such a long time in this league. We know Brad is top point scorer now in the league, but when you look at someone like Ed Dunford, he dictates a game. I think he was able to win that battle last time out, and I think the season before, you could argue that in points during the 3 Cardiff clashes last year, it was his mistakes that ended up losing the clashes, but he certainly brought it all back in earlier on in the year, and I think that's one area that a lot of people are going to be focusing on.
Okay, quickly, score prediction for tonight?
Well, unlike Dave Rogers, I'm able to give my prediction, and I think that it will actually end up being a draw, 22-22.
Oh, that's a tough one there. And quickly, if Cardiff Uni could be a chocolate, what chocolate would they be?
I think they'd probably be in Milky Way, because they need to shoot for the stars in order to get this victory.
Interesting to hear your thought there, Kia. Now let's head back to James. What's your opinion, James? You think Met can do it?
Well, Cardiff Met are certainly a team that are going to work miracles, because we've seen them do it time and time again in Buck Super Rugby, and I'm fairly certain that they can do it again tonight. Danny Milton has made several changes to his lineup. He's brought in captain Joe Cowell in at the loose head after scrummaging at tight head last week, which caught us all off guard a little bit, you might say. Some other changes coming into the squad. The Eagle, the USA Eagle, Brandon Harvey, is back. He's in the second row and he's ready to make an impact. He's going to use all of his international experience, and that will prove invaluable this evening at Cardiff Arms Park. Jake Bond is coming in at 6, and he chatted with Kian earlier, and he seems very positive ahead of this fixture, and I am certain that he's one of the key figures that could turn this around for Cardiff Met. Now, it's not just all about the starting lineup, and of course, obviously, the loss of Joe Westwood, unfortunately, but Brad Morgan will step in to fill that hole. But looking onto the bench, I think there's a dark horse in this Cardiff Met squad. I've spied Ben Murphy on the bench. Now, he has been an absolute workhorse. His work rate is unrivaled throughout this squad. I mentioned his name time and time again in coverage, and I really think that he could be the difference when coming on as a finisher for Danny Milton's men. And speaking of the man himself, Danny Milton, he's actually never finished lower than 4th when he's been in charge of Cardiff Met during Buck Super Rugby. So it's definitely something that we need to keep our eyes on as well, because he'll be determined to ensure that he still has a high finishing season at Cardiff Arms Park. Well, sorry, at Cardiff Met.
James, is it icy? Is it cold? Windy? Give us a lowdown.
Well, Meg, as you can probably see from the steam coming out of my mouth, it's rather chilly at Cardiff Arms Park. We were suffering with a bit of wind earlier. That seems to have died down now. It seems to have calmed down a little bit, but that means that the icy conditions will start to play their hands. You're going to get numb, cold hands. The balls are going to be dropped, and when the balls are actually going to be kicked up high into the air, I say the wind's just died down. I can feel a breeze behind me now, but when the ball is kicked up into the air, it could go anywhere. There's no telling how this game's going to play out, because the conditions are going to be a massive factor.
Yeah, and James, could you give us a score prediction for tonight, unlike your counterpart Dave?
Oh, I enjoy that subtle dig at Dave that he didn't give you a precise score prediction there, Meg. But I'll give you one myself. As a Cardiff Met man myself, and going up through the ranks in the University Rugby Club, not to be as privileged to play in a Cardiff clash, I'm going to back the Met boys. I really think that they can pull it back from the performance last time, and they'll be desperate to bounce back from 2 losses on the bounce as well. So I'm going to go for a 21-14 victory for the Cardiff Met Archers. And if that score prediction and all that we've talked about in the show didn't get you as excited as you should be for the Cardiff clash, then check out this little video.
Winds and crack your cheeks. Rage, blow. Your cataracts and hurricanes spout till you have drenched our steeples, drowned the cocks. You, sulphurous and thought-executing fires, faunt couriers of oak-cleaving thunderbolts, singe my white head. And thou, all shaking thunder, strike flat the thick rotundity of the world, crack nature's moulds, all Germans spill at once, rumble thy bellyful, spit fire, spout rain, then let fall your horrible pleasure. Here I stand, your high-engendered battles gainst a head so old and white as this. Oh, 'tis foul.
Truly their redemption day. Those seats will slowly start filling up over the next few hours as we edge closer and closer to kickoff. Thank you, James and Dave. Enjoy the game. Now that's all here from us back up at Kincoy campus. A big thanks to all our correspondents, and thank you for joining me. You can catch the Cardiff Clash on the Buck Super Rugby YouTube stream at 7 p.m. with kickoff at 7:30. Now we're ending the term by showing you how magic is really made here on the Cardiff Met Sport Broadcast course. Enjoy, goodbye, and the Dolly Clown.
At speed.
At speed, what does that mean?
Say it really, really fast. That we're rolling.
Oh, okay. could have said, and am I walking towards you or not?
Yes.
I'm gonna go over here a while then.
You good? No. Girls, you good? Right. Yeah. Right, go.
Domestic football like Cardiff Met.
Keep their cool.
Referee, come on! Okay, cool. No other team has epitomised. Wait, go again. We'll cut that. Has quite. No, wait, go again. Over the heart. Yeah, no, don't worry. Don't worry. I messed it up.
Good morning and welcome to Cardiff's.
Sorry, I was conscious you were walking into a wall. And so.
Last year's decade of domestic women, with Cardiff City sitting top of the total, like Cardiff Met.
But if anything is to go by today, yeah, nah.
But it's alright, we're good, we're pushing through.
And that's football on Channel 1.
The thing is, if you...
Hold on, guys.